Ready when you are. We're behind the scenes, but it's actually started. So ready when you're ready. Get in there. 1-0. And all I have to say, and I'm going to do this because I need all your help, Geordies, to get this going. Get your cameras ready. This is the new Woltemade chant. Volta, Woltemade. You pass him the ball. He scores us a goal, and the Geordies roar.
Buzzing, man.
Yeah, get in there. Oh, man, how are you doing, my son?
Mate, buzzing. It was a ropey last 5, but you know what? We got the 3 points. I'm sure everyone's buzzing for that. So obviously, everyone make sure you hit the likes on the video, because if 3 points doesn't deserve like 500 likes, then what does? Do you know what I mean? Like, honestly, what a game. Josh, how are you feeling after that?
I'm feeling better now that it was done. Those last 10 minutes, I was a little puckered, if you get what I'm saying. But at the end of the day, all that matters is the result. Happy that Woltemade opened his account. But real quickly, before we get into all of that, just some quick reminders. We are doing a live match reaction, so please feel free to call in. We want to hear from you, the fans. We've already got one lovely guest waiting in the wings, Mr. Jordan. We'll get to him shortly. But if you want to come on, one little caveat to this, just to kind of help us out and know that you aren't here just to yank our chain a bit, please have your cams on. That'll just be a little bit of an indicator to us that you aren't here to mess with us, as much as we do enjoy a little bit of fun and banter, but it just helps us know that you're here to really talk about the tune. As Joe also said, please smash the likes if you want to forget about Isak, and we've got Woltemade. Who's Isak? Who? Huh?
Exactly.
Never heard of him.
Never heard of him.
But we got lots of people in chat. Gary, Lee Stapleton, Doug Ennis, Shayna, thank you all for joining us. We got 52 of you, so smash those likes, please. If you're not already, subscribe, hit that notification bell. These are all free things to do, so you know when we're going live. Lee will have some content coming to you later on. Unfortunately, it'll be a little bit of a modified videos, I think, today, but he still has some content coming your way, recorded as always. So let's get into it. And before I bring on our first guest, what were your overall thoughts, Joe, of the game? What is there to take from this?
I think, obviously, Josh, me and you were chatting throughout the game, and I think my main one, like, let's for a second forget that we had a win, forget that Woltemade scores on his debut and scores quicker than Isak scored on his debut. Yeah, a whole 8 minutes quicker. Forgetting about that for a moment, what glaring sort of issues or what glaring positives did I take from the match? One, you can tell Woltemade does need more time, and look, he scored on his debut. I'm happy, but there was a couple of times he was looking a little bit lost, and I think that's just before chat jumps on us here. I think that was just a matter of he hasn't trained enough with the squad yet. So can you imagine when he's had 3 or 4 weeks of training with the squad, he's going to look impressive. So I'm looking forward to that. The big one, which I know we're going to get into, especially you, Josh, the Bonds problem. And I'm pretty certain at this point, if there's any Newcastle fans who aren't thinking we've got some sort of Bonds problem, then, I mean, come on, you need to wake up a little bit. Yes, he wins the ball, but he's just too... It's like he's got very little patience when he's getting the ball, and it annoys us, it frustrates us. And yeah, then 1 out of 5 times when he does get a goal, lovely, all good. But I just think he needs to take a touch more. And then Tino's just looking better and better and better. He's barely missing a trick. Tino Livramento is doing fantastic right now. They are some big things for me. I'm really happy. You can tell the striker issue's gone. Like, let's just go. Let's go now. This is it. The season starts. Today felt like the first day of the season for me, and coming out with three points like that, Love that. Love that.
Well, let's get to our good friend Jordan. He's been waiting patiently. Let's get Jordan's thoughts. How are we doing, Jordan? What are your thoughts on that win?
Absolutely amazing. As I was saying to Joe last time I was on, we needed it
Yes, we did.
really. Harvey Barnes. See, I used to like him. I'm
Yeah,
not a fan. I'm not a fan now.
yeah,
He's he's very slow. He's not very talented,
yeah.
as I was saying in the
I
last.
just think he maybe doesn't fit our style, because I'm with you, Jordan. When we signed him, I was very excited. I liked him. I wanted him to do well. I was actually very close to getting a Barnes jersey shortly after him signing and things like that, mainly because of his connection to Philadelphia, where I'm from, or where I live, I should say. And so I thought about it, but he just doesn't. His first touch is the biggest thing that Joe and I were talking about that I think lets him down.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I watched him at the Villa game, and he wasn't that good, was he, Joe? To be
Nah,
honest.
it, my issue, like I've said multiple times, I think to play devil's advocate a bit, Jordan, right? I don't think talent or speed is the issue with Bonds. I think he's got talent. I think he's got the pace, but he just sort of like you seen today when he was offside. Like that was a great chance, and he just for some reason took them 2 extra steps that he did
Yeah,
not need to take. He's
definitely.
so impatient. He's so impatient.
Yeah,
But the thing that I want to get to is our striker. He
yeah,
is, he
absolutely.
is absolutely amazing. I
Yeah,
mean, I don't know if Joe watched the game, but it was absolutely amazing. I mean, God, where's
I,
Isaac?
yeah,
Isaac here?
yeah. I mean,
Where?
listen, I got to be selfish.
Guys,
What do
just two
you?
seconds. I'm going to disappear. Literally
Yeah,
2 seconds. I'll stay on. I'll be right back.
no worries. So I'll ask you, Jordan, as a Geordie, or at least I'm assuming you're in Newcastle area. What did you think of my chant? Can we get it going? Did you like it?
Um, uh,
Fair enough. May not be everyone. I'm a metalhead, so I love my
yeah,
Rammstein. So I was trying to put it. If you guys didn't piece it together, I was putting that to the tune of Du Hast. If any of you are metalheads, but anyways,
I think a lot of the problem was Isaac. He wasn't really that well. He was good, but he just didn't like. It's hard because I do like him, and I will watch him play for Liverpool
Mhm.
because he is a very good player. And I would like to see what comes of him at Liverpool as well. A lot of the fans that I know are like, is he any good? I was like, well, he won our trophy, so I mean, what like when he came in, I thought, well, I don't think he'll be that good. And then when he scored at Liverpool, I was like, oh my god.
Yeah. No, I mean it's going to be interesting. I do agree with you, Jordan. I think as time goes on, there will be a little bit of softening to a degree on that, but I just think to me, again, I think hopefully the last time we really have to speak about it because for me, I'm just kind of tired of talking about him. But I think all of us would not have begrudged him wanting to go there. We're not naive. We understand that realistically, Liverpool or something like that gives him a better chance right now to win trophies. I just think it was the way in which he went about it, and
Yeah,
also the fact that to me that he just couldn't give us one more year. That was my big thing that I had discussed with one of my buddies at work who's a Man U fan who's kind of been teasing me about this. I said, "Listen, it's not that we're just mad that he wanted to leave us. It's more in the details." And again, without going into all of it and rehashing it, I think there's a lot of great videos out there that break down actually how it happened. He put a post about Happy Alenga signed. He put some posts out there in the beginning of the preseason that you don't do if you've supposedly been saying the whole time you've been telling them this. So that's just kind of some of my frustrations. But let's stay on the positive. Last question for you, Jordan, before we hop over to our next guest. We've got some others patiently waiting. Who would you give your man of the match today?
Oh, I'm gonna have to ask Joe this one because
Jordan, it's your man of the match. It's
Question.
your man of the match. I'm going to struggle with my own. I'm telling you.
all right then, it's coming out because I know I like Woltemade. It
Yeah.
has to be.
Yeah.
Fair enough. I think that that's a good shout. You know, on his debut, it wasn't perfect, but he did what we needed him to do, and that's all that matters. But we thank you for your time and your thoughts, Jordan. Please join us whenever we go live. After we're going to try and do this most games of the season, not every game, but most of the games. I'm pretty sure we're going to do a live Barca reaction later this week as well. So
Yeah.
please join us if you can. But any final thoughts from you, my friend?
I mean, let's see what happens at Barca now that we've got Woltemade. I mean, I think, like Joe was saying before, he hasn't had a lot of time to train with the team. So, I mean, I don't know what your thoughts are, Joe.
Yeah, it's coming with Valtamade. It's coming. And someone, Gary V's just said in the comments there, I think the performance wasn't the thing today. It was getting that win over the line before we moved to the Champions League. Lots of nerves on display. A few errors, as usually happens with us after the break. And I agree. That is a really good way to sum it up. We just needed a win today to bolster that confidence going towards
Yeah,
Barcelona. And we've got it now.
definitely.
Happy
Yeah.
days.
Very, very good. Well, thank you for joining us, Jordan. It's been
Thanks,
a
Jordan.
pleasure. I'm going to real quick, let's pull up some of the chats. And Joe, if you don't mind reading some of the chats there for us while I get some things set up in the background.
Teamwork, that's how this thing works. Obviously, as I said before, there's Gary V's comment, which I think is absolutely brilliant. Ian McKenna, you know what it is? That's one thing I love right now. I can mention Isak in one thing, and the one thing that I mentioned Isak in is that Isak, it took him 38 minutes to score his first goal for Newcastle. Woltemade, it took 30. So the big talk now is Nick Woltemade. Is he the man or is he not the man? Chat, let me know. Me brother Benji, he's in the chat. Tonali, Otino, or Murphy, man of the match for me. Hard to choose. Derek Ferguson saying Bruno for man of the match. Personally, Derek, I've got to disagree with you just a little bit there. I think Bruno just falls outside of the contention for man of the match. I think he was brilliant as always, but I just think there was a few other people who put more key performances in, the likes of Tonali, the likes of Tino. Although Tonali had a slower start, I felt for the first 20 minutes or so, Tonali was a bit quiet. He really was. But then he came into the game as he does. Murphy, crosses all day long. For me, Joe Linton as well had an absolutely fantastic game as well. Looking at that, now the commentator on the channel I was watching mentioned how he rates Newcastle as the best midfielder in the league, and we were a bit quiet at first. And then you notice we're waking up, guys. I'm sure all of you have seen it. Right before Barcelona, as Ian said there, next up Barcelona, right before Barcelona, and we are putting out a performance like that and getting a victory like that, I'm happy. I'm really happy with that. The midfield's woke up. They've shown what we can do. Yes, when it comes to Barcelona, we need to hit the ground running and do that from the very, very, very get-go. But look, I'm happy. I hope you're all happy again. Like Jordan just said, who's your man of the match? Jordan's was Woltemade. Mine, Jordan tried to put it on me. My Woltemade, my man of the match. I'm probably going to have to give it to Tino Livramento, just because he was more consistent in the match, very closely followed by, I nearly said by Matt Lewis there, Matt Lewis, man of the match contention. He is very much just behind is Tonali, but Tonali didn't give a full 90 minutes of unbelievable play. It was about 70, whereas I think Tino was a good good 80 and 90-minute man. So, yeah, Tino. Definitely, Benji, hopefully a Tino hat-trick like back in the day. Matt Lewis,
100%.
Newcastle, double today. The under-18s beat
You got to put a
Liverpool.
fiver on it. I mean, just
I know, like, it's sort
I'm
of...
not a
it's sort
betting
of,
man, but you got to put a fiver on a Tino hat trick just for the history.
It is. It's the chances of it happening as well. Like, imagine that,
Yeah.
like, so many years later, and Tino scores a hat trick again. What? Just turn back the clocks. It's like Back to the Future. It's El Capitan Bruno for Derek's man of the match. Aye, Josh, you asked man of the match before me and Jordan. Who's your man of the match before you bring the next?
Yeah, so
guest in?
as we bring in our next one, Callum, I'll give my man of the match, and also real quickly see a few more of you guys back in stage. Glad to have you. If you can, please, just so we know that you're serious, if you can turn on your cams, we greatly appreciate it. I see you back there, Jack. I think I remember you, so I'll give you the benefit of the doubt. But if you really can, my friend, if you could turn on the cams, just so we know that you ain't here to yank our chains. Okay,
Yes.
but let's bring in the lovely Callum. And also, like I said, I will give you my thoughts. For me, I think I got to agree with you, Tino. Tino was hands down man of the match. I think Murphy had a solid game. I think he contributed a lot. I do think Tonali grew into the game and was within touching distance of it. But Dan Burn, steady as a rock, doing the thankless work, not the sexy work as always. I think is within touching distance as well. But I think the rest of the team was 6 and 7s, and we'll get into it. But what about you, Callum? What were your thoughts on the game? And I'm going to just continue tooting my own horn a little bit. What did you think of the chant? Did you like the chant? Can we get it going?
I just said to keep me up. I like Nick. No matter what, I like to say Nick is starting 11 for this Thursday Barcelona game. It would be terrific.
Yeah. Nick needs to be one who starts on Barca. I mean, I don't think Vissa's going to be fit for Barca in any ways. So, did it worry us when Woltemade came off? Did it worry you a bit? Did we lose with attacking power?
No, I think it's just give him a rest, and he needs some Saturday. You need to get used to it for the team. Like I say, you need some rest and get fresh for this Thursday coming. You know.
Yeah.
I think the Voltamata and the performance as a whole could be summarized kind of like we were talking there in the chat. Like, this was a classic example of, in a way, the performance does not matter. It was all about the result. There are some negatives, and I want to wait to get to the negatives because I don't want to seem like we're being pessimists after a victory. At the end of the day, a win is a win, and I think there's a lot to be excited about. But we also need to be realistic, and there was some negative things. But I think, like we said, another bright spark was Jacob Murphy. He put in a lot of balls. I mean, on another day, he gets that one top bins. I mean, that was really close. Was a beautiful shot. What was your thoughts on Murphy's performance today, Cal?
Terrific. He's done well. Like I said, I just listen on the radio, but he's done terrific no matter what. And probably it's either Murphy or Nick my man in the match.
Yeah. Real quickly, let's just take a brief second to talk about our opposition and give them a little bit of respect. They did give us a game. Where do you think they threatened us the most? I personally think it was their midfield. Their midfield did a good job at all just playing steady Eddie. They didn't overrun us, but they were in there just kind of chipping away. And it's one of those kind of classic things, like think of boxing. You know, you're getting those body blows in for 70 minutes to hopefully capitalize in the later stages of the game. Would you agree that the midfield was kind of their most dangerous part, or did something else, or was it more of us just allowing them to be dangerous, in your opinion, Callum?
Probably the Wolves are too dangerous. You know, I think it's tricky. You know, they're up front or probably maybe harder. But like you say, a midfielder, I say yes, but Sorry, I was struggling my speech. I've got autism.
Oh, no worries, mate. You're all good. Well, any final thoughts for you? We've got Jack waiting patiently as well. Anything else that was just your key takeaway from it, other than that we won and Voltemade opened his account?
No matter what, we're going to this Thursday. I can't wait. It's going to be a big game. Barcelona. Let's beat them 3-2. Shall we do that last time? Let's see. Tino's got a hat trick. No, let's get Nick. Please.
Oh my gosh.
Please. Let's say John Linton, Bruno get a goal. Come on. Or was it? Hooray, the lads. Let's get Barca up for Thursday. The first win for the Champions League match.
Absolutely, my friend. Well, thank you for joining us as always. I'm going to throw it to the chat, Callum, and let's talk through the chat as we get prepped to bring on Jack.
Straight in with the chat as well. There's a comment that's just come through from Lewis Sewell. I seen you in Howden. My last stopped me from Tooting. Respect yourself, great authentic presenter. Lewis, all I've got to say is sack your last next time, beat with us no matter what, and I will do a little dance in the street for you, my mate. Trust us. I love doing that stuff. Matt Lewis wins a win, 3 clean sheets out of 4-2. Now that's a stat I don't think many people are going to be clicking onto, Matt. That's a good shout. I'd overlooked that. 3 clean sheets out of 4. Eddie's first full season in charge. The defensive record was a big platform for us, while the wingers hopefully improve and Voltemade gets used to the league. Definitely think Voltemade is just a time thing. He's going to get better. I did ask in the comments as well, man of the match. We are getting shouts for a lot of the same people, which I agree with. Doug Ennis saying Murphy or Bruno. For me, man of the match, probably will go with Murphy. Matt Thompson, man of the match for him was Tonali, close to getting a goal and always gives 110%. Also, lovely run at the start. Yes, Tonali was phenomenal. The only reason I personally didn't give Tonali man of the match was simply because I feel like Tino was on his game more than what Tonali was. And Ian McKenna was someone else. It was Lewis Sewell, who he's seen in Howden. He's seen me in Howden, and he's not been allowed to beat us, and I think that's an absolute travesty. Need to start spreading some goals around the team, though. There's a question for you, right? Everyone in the chat. The last couple of seasons, yes, we've had obviously like Isak and Murphy and even Almiron when he had that purple patch are in the sort of contention for goals. And then it always trickles off a bit, and there's always a good, I would say, 6 goal scorers on at least 5 goals in our squad, sometimes a bit more. Do you see that happening again this season? Like, I do personally. I think we're going to have the likes of Voltemade, we're going to have the likes of Wissa, you're going to have the likes of Murphy, you're going to have Bruno, Tonali. I mean, Tonali hitting the post the day, man. Wow, he loves a bit of the post.
Forgot about that one.
I do think, Josh, personally, I think like someone saying there, we need to start spreading the goals. I think it's coming. I think the goals are going to get spread. It's just bound to happen. We're getting more talent now. We've got better depth. Like, soon we're going to be able to switch between Barnes, Gordon, Murphy, Ramsey, Elanga. Like, they're great choices. So the goals are going to come for everyone, I believe.
Yeah. I mean, real quickly before we bring in Jack, I just think for me, I agree with what you're saying. I think this season, if we're going to be successful, the goals are going to have to come a bit more spread out. I don't think we are going to be as one focus like we were last season with Isak. Again, I want to emphasize, and I've mentioned this in a few videos, basically the only other team I watch regularly is Stuttgart. So I've seen a good bit of Voltemade, and I think there is the potential that he's going to come good and he's going to make that price tag look like it was worth it. However, we need to be patient, because I was literally saying to you as we were chatting right before he scored that I was getting worried that people wouldn't give him the patience that he needed. And like I said, I think as long as we understand that for these first 6 months, anything we get, we almost need to see as a bonus. Now, obviously, Wissa getting injured, which there's some rumors circling around at match kickoff at how bad that is. Obviously that does kind of change the scenario a bit, but we still need to preach patience. And that's the biggest thing I would say is he's a young lad. Let's think back to when we brought in Isak. Isak did have a great game against Liverpool, but then was quiet for a bit. It wasn't like he hit the ground running and was instantly that superstar. As much as we want that to be the case, it's just not going to be. But let's go to Jack. He did turn on his cams to let me know he's real, so I will respect if he wants to keep his cams off. I understand some people don't want to show their faces. That's all good. But how we doing, Jack? What was your thoughts on the game?
Howdy, boys. How you doing?
Good, good. How you doing, buddy?
I'll turn my camera on since you.
No, we
You're
appreciate
begging
it.
for
Why would you
Nice
hide
to have
such
a
a
dog
lovely
running around in the
face?
background and all. Anyway,
Gary, I'm in Wallace's bedroom, you know what I mean, Jack? It's all good. I'm trying to hide the washing on the bed.
Yeah, no worries, mate. I don't got any pretty setups either, so I just got the blur setting on.
I just wanted to bring a few talking points for you because I think
Yeah.
the day we haven't mentioned a different Nick Pope. I think he done quite well the day, you know. Could have easily been 1-1 there. He done well. And I've always been worried about him diving to his right. I think it is after his surgery and that. Usually those shots, we've seen it against Liverpool, stuff like that. He struggled with them. Sometimes he even went for them. The day he done really well. We've mentioned Tonali. He done really good, tracking back and makes us think it'd be nice to see Tonali have that role, but going forward, you know, you see him at least scoring goals, and he basically does the same, but for us, towards our side of the pitch.
Yep.
You know?
Yeah. No, I agree with you. I mean, there were a few nitpicky things I think that frustrated me. There was one or two balls that I felt like he should have claimed. Like there was that one shot in the first half that came at him, but I thought it was a little slow. And by him not catching it, I thought it kept the pressure on a little bit. But I know sometimes I can be a bit nitpicky, and I've never played goalie myself, so maybe I'm being a bit harsh. But I think, like you said, when we need him, he always does what is. And that's why, to me, as much as I know some people want to complain about his distribution, I personally am a bit more old-fashioned in that as long as the goalie is keeping it out of the net, that's all I care about.
And he did do well on that the day, Jack. I mean, you do make a great point. Like, there was a fair few times where, I mean, in the first half, especially when Wolves were coming at it, and Pope was making some great dives and great saves. And while we're praising keepers, I do want to praise Johnston as well, because
he had a solid performance.
he was swinging for the fences today. I thought he was in a boxing match at times. He was just swinging punches at the ball all hour, and he kept so much out. So both keepers today, like, I think the keepers are very much overlooked a lot of the time, and they kind of are the scapegoat. So
real quickly before we move on to Pope, from Pope, just curious, what would you give him, Jack, for your rating out of 10 if you were to give him a player rating?
I didn't see the very beginning of the match. I think I started watching about 15 minutes in.
Okay.
By the time I managed to find the channel, let's just say. And from what I'd seen from there, he was strong. You know what I mean? You give him a 7, 8 at least. You know.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
He didn't have
I'd
much
be
to do in the second half. I think towards the end he stayed strong, kept it together. So did the rest of the defense. I think mostly that I mentioned Nick Pope because on YouTube a lot lately we've heard Ramsdale's going to be number 1 by the end of the season or by Christmas, all that sort of thing. And
I believe that.
Well, it might be true, but let's not write off Nick Pope. He is a brilliant keeper. You know, when he's on form, he's on form. One of the best shot stoppers. I think just give him a bit of benefit of doubt. There's still some of them, not write him off. And
listen, I wouldn't want it. This
Nick
one
Pope
thing
has been a vital part.
If Ramsdale even does become the number 1, right, one thing I do not want to see is Pope leave, because whether he's 1 or 2, that is a great problem for any manager. Me, Pope or Ramsdale, pick one. You've got a great keeper no matter what. So I never want Pope to leave. No disrespect. I love him to bits. He's done amazing for me.
Yeah, I honestly think Nick Pope is so underappreciated at times. Don't get me wrong; he's not a perfect keeper, but he is absolutely instrumental to the success we've had since the takeover.
Yep.
Is that
Pope? Oh, I think we lost Jack. I'm just going to remove him for a second until he can maybe fix it. But yeah, great points indeed from Jack. I think he certainly had a good game. It was definitely worth mentioning his performance, and I think one of the general talking points I had at the beginning of it. But I did kind of allude to it, and you talked a bit about it, Joe. I do need to go on to Harvey Barnes a little bit. Let's be momentarily a bit negative.
Yeah,
And I'll get your thoughts on it, Jack. But I thought this might have arguably been one of the worst performances I've ever seen for Harvey Barnes. To me, this just has solidified my. I've tried to defend him for a long time, but to me, he is simply a sub, and that is it. As soon as Gordon is back, to me, Gordon just walks right in. And I was saying to you, I think left wing needs to become one of our next priorities signing, because I'm not even convinced, one, on Gordon's recent performances, but secondly, maybe we're nitpicking. I don't begrudge him for having friends with Isak and liking that post.
Yeah.
But to me, I think there are a little bit of questions to be asked about Harvey Barnes. So I'll throw to you, Jack. What did you think about Harvey Barnes' performance? Are we being a bit harsh on him, nitpicking over the first touches and stuff, or was it driving you as mental as it was driving me?
All right, sorry, I don't know what happened there.
Yeah, no worries, man.
I'm
It happens. Technology.
It's probably me being too loud, mate.
Can you hear that music? That's laughing for you.
No,
I don't hear no music. You're all good, mate.
Oh, okay. Right. Anyways, so Harvey Barnes.
Yeah. So, what were your thoughts on his game? Are we being a bit harsh on him?
I think he needs a couple of games under his belt.
Fair enough.
He done well. You know what it is, right? He gave it a good crack. It didn't go his way, but I think you can't write him off for that. He done what he could, what he was given at the end of the day. Would have been nice to see him score a goal. I think he's fighting for his place.
Yep.
By the time Anthony Gordon finishes his ban, I think we'll probably see a couple more good performances from him.
Yeah. I will agree with you there, mate, because one of the big things is I think us as Geordies, we want to see the effort. And I don't think you can fault his effort. I don't think it's not for a lack of trying or not wanting to. It's just there were so many opportunities where I felt like he made the wrong pass that could have led to a goal. Like there was that opportunity in the second where he turned away from goal and had a terrible first touch, and Tino was just waiting there to be teed up, in my opinion. But I agree. Maybe I'm being a bit harsh. It was one performance, and maybe he could still turn it around. Any final thoughts from you, Jack, before we let you go on the game? Like any other big talking points you think that we haven't hit yet?
I think you've probably already covered it, but today with the other Nick, not Nick Pope, Woltemade up front, I think I was hoping for like a 3 goals, 4 goals today, even without Wissa, from the team collectively, not just from Nick, but 3 points and a really good debut for Nick Woltemade. What more could you want from the day heading into a match with Barcelona? I think that's a massive positive. No injuries as well.
Yes.
I'd like to see Lewis Hall come on.
Yeah, I would have liked to see Lewis Hall start, personally.
Mm-hmm.
I think Trippier, I would have wanted him for Barca. I think his experience would have been more vital for Barca, and then having Lewis Hall's energy for Wolves would have been a better trade-off, in my opinion. But listen, I think Trippier put in a 7 out of 10. I will admit at times I can kind of be a little harsh on Trippier just because I think a couple seasons ago we maybe should have cashed in on him for PSR reasons. Not because I really wanted to sell him, but unfortunately we live in this PSR world and we have to think like businessmen, not pure on football merit. But Yeah, I think Hall should have came on, and I think Miley. I would have liked to see him come on for the last 10 minutes because I think Bruno's energy was just waning a bit there. I mean, don't get me wrong; he did his usual a few tactical important drawing of a fouls at the end of the game when the pressure was on, but I think Bruno was showing a little bit of fatigue there in the last 10 minutes, and I think Miley could have just given that little bit of energy needed.
I mean, I'm not surprised. Bruno was the only player who came out to Liverpool not injured. Like, he's got to be knackered. He has to be shattered.
I think I heard something crazy, like he's played 67 games straight for us.
Probably
He's
no
a
Bruno.
workhorse, like.
He's a boy, man.
You can tell that his heart's in it. He loved it.
Oh yeah,
this is it.
One of my friends was teasing me that, we'll take Bruno next summer, and I said I will bet anything you will not take Bruno because Bruno don't want to leave here.
Bruno doesn't. He's a Geordie through and through now. He even calls his own kids Geordies now. Like that's how it is. They're going to learn how to see YI before they learn how to speak Brazilian.
Yeah, very good. Well, we appreciate it, Jack. Thanks for being a sport and turn on the cams. We appreciate it. Anything else before we let you go, my friend?
No, I think that's about it. I think that's all.
Well, will you be at Barca, or what are your plans for the Barca game this week? You just watching at home?
Hopefully, I can find the channel to watch it on.
Me and you both, mate. Me and you both.
Well, take it easy. Have a great rest of your weekend. Maybe get a pint, and we'll talk soon.
100%. Really appreciate it, lads. Really
Cheers, Jack. Call again soon.
That was bad, lads. Oh, hey.
So let's go back to the live chat and see what you all are saying. And I will get ready for our next guest. We've got one of our writers, one of our own, waiting in the back. So we'll get him squared away. But let's go back to you lovely watchers and what you're saying in the chat.
Everyone in the comments is talking about Lewis Hall. Everyone's agreeing with Josh about Lewis Hall being on, about him moving in, about him stepping up, which I agree with. I think the time is coming for Hall to start getting that start. Maybe it's just a matter of match fitness, ladies and gentlemen. Maybe he just needs that bit more time, and he's going to be the
I just am surprised, Joe, on that, not to cut you off. I believe the report said he stayed back all duty and he's been training and he's had some starts. So that's why I'm a little shocked. Now, who knows? Maybe Eddie's planning on starting him for Barca and he just had a converse idea of what I did, which fair enough. Eddie is far better tactician than I am. I will never judge him because I have no football credit in the bank whatsoever. But I just thought it was interesting we didn't see him at all because I think we could have used his energy in those last couple.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I think Lewis Hall coming on would have been a massive, massive, massive push in the back end. And one thing about Hall, and I'm pretty certain everyone will agree with this in chat, he's very much like Tino in that he plays forward. I mean, today, I think majority of the time that I've seen Tino, he was on the halfway line. And I'm like, whoa, Tino. And then all of a sudden there's an attack from Wolves and Tino is getting back in time. He's got great speed. He's got amazing, amazing ability. That's the thing. Ian McKenna's just saying in the chat there, right? Would you really drop Tino from left back? No, that is the beauty of it. Tino can actually play right back as well. So you chuck Tino on the right back and you chuck Lewis Hall on the left back position. I think you have pace, you have balls, you have amazing, amazing, amazing pressing happening all day long with that. One thing I do want to pull from today's match though, Josh, right, is in chat, let me know what you think about this. There's a new trend in the Premier League that's come about. And from the kick-off, a team's booting the ball into the opponent's third and causing a high-pressure throw-in to be conceded. And I get the tactic behind it. I just think, is it one of those moments where, oh my God, the fucking game's gone? Or is it, wow, that's next level IQ? You know, thinking about that free kick against Argentina in the World Cup all those years ago, rolling the ball along first. Is that the thought with this concede?
It is my tinfoil hat a little bit, but I wonder if this actually maybe comes from American football a little bit. I don't know if you've ever watched American football at all, but there is a tactic. Sometimes, when you've got to punt the ball, you don't get that first down. They would bring on a kicker, and if you're in a certain area, the tactic was literally, we called it a coffin corner kick, and you're trying to land it in that final 5 yards in front of the end zone, because if it lands in and bounces out, that's where they have to start their drive from on a punt. So I wonder if some of the logic is that, just making them have to gain the whole field and work their way up. I mean, I don't like it every game, but I do like it situationally. I think it has proven effective to a degree. I think this game, right off of that, they then ended up they winded up knocking it out, and then we had a throw in their half. It didn't yield anything, but who knows? It could be something better than nothing. But yeah, it is interesting.
It's a strange one, and it's how quickly it's sort of come about. So many Premier League teams doing it now, and I wasn't expecting us to do it. I really wasn't.
Yeah.
And then I seen we go for it. Ian McKenna, is that what you're calling it, Ian? Egg ball. I like that. He's saying, are you calling the NFL?
Yeah, I think he's making fun of American football.
Yeah, he is. The NFL.
Listen, I ain't a fan of American football, so you can make fun of it all you want.
It's a crazy tactic for me. I might just start calling it that, egg ball. Oh, look, they've just egg balled it. Yeah, that's it. That's it for me. Egg ball. Egg ball is now the name for the tactic of when they boot the ball up from the kickoff to gain that throw in. It's wise. I do get it, but it's just mental how quick it's took over the game. And I've seen a lot of people online commenting, "Oh my God, the game's gone. The game's gone." For me, I think it's a nice new avenue to go down.
And a good shout from Matt there, and again, I don't know if you were having issues, Matt, but I saw you in the studio. If you can, come back. We'd love to have you on. But Matt's talking about the long throws too. There have been a few of those things, that have kind of, we've seen more of that we've not seen in previous weeks, or previous seasons, I should say, not weeks. Some other tactics coming back. I mean, when I think of Stoke, I mean, if anything, now I just think of Arsenal. I mean, Arsenal is a glorified Stoke City, if you ask me, but shots fired.
Shots fired indeed there, mate. Instant pressure in the opposition half. Don't know if it works, but Eddie knows best. Jack agreed with that. Eddie does know best. And it's shown today. As much as we were questioning at the start, because Josh wasn't the only one who was questioning Woltemade, and we weren't questioning Woltemade in a negative sense. Me and Josh both understand the game. We understand he needs time. He's barely been able to have time to train with the team. The chemistry's not there. Eddie has shown something with Woltemade today. The way Woltemade is playing.
And I like his link-up play. I mean, I think we saw little teasers of what he's going to bring. His close ball control, sucking in a defender so he can do a little flick on, which is not what you necessarily expect from a striker. But I think it's almost been double, kind of like dual benefit of Wissa getting the number 9, because I don't think we should expect Woltemade to be an Alan Shearer.
Yep, agreed.
He's going to be different. Yep. And we need to, I'm going to try and hammer that in as much as I can to all that will listen. We need to get that in our brains, because it doesn't mean that he's not going to be great. He's just not going to offer us. I think of, some of you guys may have known, I previously did a lot of stuff with another channel, and shout out to Chris, the American Mag, and NUFC Talk TV. Great channel. No bad blood with them. But one of the things that they always talked about, and I think they still do, is Win. If you know who the mighty Win is, who's one of the regulars there, he would joke about how Isak was not a 9 or not a center forward. And we would talk about how you've got your strikers and your center forwards, and they're different things. Callum Wilson was your center forward. He could be upside down on his ass and hit it with his pinky toe and somehow get it in there.
Yep, that's
Where
it. Yep.
Isak was more of your elegant, sexy dribbler, whatever, and getting it on the run and things like that. So I think you need to almost expect a hybrid of that with Woltemade. Not, again, and even for his height, you would expect him to be, lump it up, let him head it in, which seems contradictory considering his first goal was a header. He does have a header, don't get me wrong, but he's got a hell of a cannon on him. Wait until you see that cannon on full display in the coming weeks.
I'm looking forward to that. I am. I fully agree as well. He reminds us, and it's the same when He Who Must Not Be Named was here as well. I see the players like Woltemade as more of a Ronaldinho. The player who he's a playmaker, but he's also, like you say, Woltemade has an absolute cannon. And Ian's just put a comment in there, Josh, and that's something we've always got to
go back to the comments.
The Eddie Howe effect, right? I got laughed at on the overlap for this, but let's see what Eddie turns him into.
Yeah.
Because that is the next moment. What is going to happen once Eddie goes, okay, let's mold this Play-Doh into something amazing.
It's so funny you mentioned that. Again, sorry to cut you off, buddy, but I find it so funny, and I think you've probably seen it firsthand being on the overlap. I have a lot of friends that are not Newcastle fans. Again, being in the States, you get a lot of Liverpool, so on and so forth. And, it's so funny sometimes. I was talking to them, the comment when I mentioned that's a Man U fan, we were talking about PSR and FFP. And I was explaining to him why us rational Newcastle fans complain about it. And when I'm explaining to him, he's like, I didn't even know that. He's like, for real? Arsenal are giving loans to themselves and it has no interest? And I'm like, yeah, what rock have you been living under? And it's like, it just makes me feel so angry that, like, people just ignore us and think that we want to be angry because we can't sign Messi or whoever. That's not what the point of this is. We don't want to buy the league. We want to do it the right way, but we also want it so that way the cards aren't stacked against us.
Yep. Bang on, that is it. I don't think if you went out there, has it always been every Newcastle fan's dream to be able to buy all these top class players? Of course it has. But overall, we just want to be able to go out there and go, do you know what it is? We spent £65 million on a striker and he scored on his debut. Happy days. We don't want to be going out there anymore and going, we could only spend £19 million on a centre forward who's played mostly as a midfielder. Yeah, he does this and he does this, but we're going to play him as a number 9 and he's only going to score 3 goals this whole season. Things like that I'm glad them days are gone. I'm just glad we can now go out there and contend for decent strikers and then eventually turn around and go, you know what? He scored on his debut. He's going to do well and he's going to win the money. He's going to win the money. He's going to win the gold with it. That's the big thing. He's going to go out there and he's going to score goals, and that's all that we need right now. That is literally all we need.
Well, I just put in the chat, giving y'all a 10-minute warning. Please, if you can, hop on. We're going to go for about 10 more minutes. We'd love to hear any more of your thoughts. But while we're wrapping up, because I think we've kind of hit all the main talking points of the match, since I've got you, my friend, and we also are both big fans of the Lasses. What did you think of the Lasses this week in their performance against Forest?
Great. There was a few niggling points, just the same as what I had the day with the lads. It's early days in the season for the Lasses. It was the first game of the season last weekend, and against a very, very veteran opponent in Nottingham Forest. Look, I was impressed to get the 3 points against Forest. They pulled it close towards the end. They really did. And I sort of had that worry about seeing games out. Is it going to work? Is it not? And we did it. We nailed it. We got it through. Really happy. And it gives you a good reason to kick on this weekend. Back at home. Back at Gateshead International Stadium. Not Kingston Park. I'm still getting used to that. Back again in first match at International Stadium, Gateshead. And it's going to be exciting, straight off the back of 3 points. Straight off as well. This is what I think's interesting. Whenever the men have a win like they do today and you get 3 points in which you thought maybe would struggle, it always affects the lasses, and the next day the fans are that little bit more hyped. So I'm always happy when the lads win on a Saturday and then it goes into the lasses match, because we end up going over and we end up having an even better time. Matt Lewis just asking us, who do I think will start up front for us tomorrow? I think it's going to be Hales, mate. Standard. It's going to be that sort of, as we've seen last week with the lasses, Hales and Pike sort of switching between themselves in that attacking midfield role to that centre forward role. I think it's going to be that same dynamic in Hales and Pike, and God, I cannot wait for Molly Pike. I think the two big players in Newcastle United this season that you need to watch are Nick Woltemade and Molly Pike, not because they're going to score 100 goals this season each, but because they're going to set the world on fire with what they do outside of their goals. That's what I'm looking forward to. Two big names to watch: Molly Pike, Woltemade. Geordie's through and through.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it was a similar kind of situation, I would say, almost to today's game last week. I think the important thing was basically getting that win. I think, yes, there was a little bit of a late push from Forest, and I don't think we necessarily managed it, but I think one of the big differences from this season to last was that we saw it out. And I think that's the important thing on a title run, as we hope they will be this season. We see them out. Now, real quickly, obviously, as it says to my left, smash those like buttons. And please, again, share with your friends. We know there's a lot of other channels you can call into and get at right after the final whistle. But please, we'd love for you to join in, call in, chat with me and Joe most games. Maybe we'll have some others join us along the way. But with that said, any final thoughts on the game? I'll go first. For me, again, much needed win. The performance wasn't 100%, but I think we saw the foundations of what we can be, and we got the result, which was the most important thing. I think it's beautiful that Woltemade got the monkey off his back. We don't need to have that ticking timer of, oh no, it's been 5 games, he still hasn't done it yet. At least he's got the monkey off the back, which I think buys him some time. And things like that. But I think all in all, good performance, great header, super excited. And the last person I think I want to shout out, who I think was a little underrated, we did talk a bit about him, but Tonali. Tonali really grew into that game. And part of why I am not nervous about losing Isak is I personally think that Tonali's was more integral to our success last season than Isak was. That might be a hot take. Many people may not agree because the score sheet shows a different story. But I think today proves the point. The striker can sometimes be the beneficiary of good work around him. And I think one of the biggest reasons why, again, Isak can go pound sand is the lack of disrespect that we helped him become that player. It's not that he's not a good player. He is. This isn't us throwing our toys out of the pram and being salty. He's a great player. But he relied on Murphy's feeds, Gordon's feeds, Tonali and Bruno's through balls, Fabian Schär's diagonals. All those things made Isak a part of who he was. So that's my final.
Bang on. And do you know what it is to take from that straight away, right? I seen a debate today on Instagram. Who is the better striker, Isak or Haaland? And someone underneath went, Isak, because Haaland needs service. And I sat there as a Newcastle fan and I went, hold on a minute. So are we just going to forget about Almiron, Bruno, Jacob Murphy, Sandro Tonali? Now, with it just 2 seconds there, because if you see me head going right there, come here a minute. I did have the little one who was busy.
Hey, if Emmy wants to make a guest appearance, we will not stop her.
You know, you are live now on Newcastle Fans TV. Are you going to give a wave to everyone? Yeah, that way.
What's your prediction tomorrow, Emmy? Is Newcastle going to win?
Yeah.
What are the girls' scores going to be?
7-0.
7-0.
Whoa. You heard it here
She's going
first,
through.
folks.
Dad, I can hear them.
Yeah, I know, because it's coming through the speaker there. You jump off, I'll be a couple of minutes.
Okay.
We're just finishing up, right?
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye, Emmy. Take it easy.
So yeah, I think Isak is one of those who needs service as well, and today shows it as well. Like, Tonali was phenomenal. Everyone's been a great show today, and for me, the one big thing that we need is, and this is one big point that I want to look at going forward as well. When our squad is fully fit, we're talking Gordon, we're talking Elanga, Ramsey, all playing into the likes of Woltemade, Wissa. Then you've got the back line of when Botman came on at the end there. He's almost ready to starting again. Malik Chow won't be far off. You're going to see names like Livramento, Lewis Hall, Malik Chow, Sven Botman, Bruno Guimaraes, Sandro Tonali, Joel Linton, Anthony Gordon, Wissa, Elanga. Just speaking them names in a Newcastle lineup, and we've still missed out top tier players. When we are fit, and this season's going to prove it, we are an extremely dangerous team. Today, we gritted our teeth and got through just for 3 points that we know was needed. We know that if we had came away with any less than 3 points today, we're seeing Lee's thumbnails that he had prepared. It would have been a big disappointment. We have them 3 points, and that's just scratching it through, right? Imagine when we're all guns blazing. Imagine, like you say, Woltemade's got his cannons on the road. Joel Linton's leading the cavalry charge on the left. Like, come on, Woltemade. Like, this is, honestly, I'm very excited. Today was calm. It was that thing. Trippier puts it perfectly.
Yeah,
that's all that's needed.
Chips does have his leadership. I know I sometimes can be harsh on him, and his leadership and experience is definitely needed at moments. But yeah, I think sometimes when he's having off days, that can be used as a crutch. Like, to be fair, even like sometimes with Dan Burn, that can be used as a crutch when Dan Burn has an off day. Is people will say, well, he's intangibles or this or that, and I think they're a little bit one-dimensional. As long as they do that dimension, they're great. I love Dan Burn to death, but I think we all are realistic that he's pretty one-dimensional in what he needs to achieve. And as long as he does that, that's why he's in the starting 11.
Yeah.
But anyways, I think it's been a great performance. I thank you for joining. Again, thank you all for watching along with us. Please smash those like buttons if you haven't already. It's so helpful. It's free, it's painless, and it helps us out so much. One last thing I want to shout out, just kind of random. I love shouting out other channels. I saw a great interview with a smaller channel, but of my good old friend, and I'll turn my back so we can see who we're talking about. Mr. John Joe Shelby did an interview with, I think it was called NUFC 360. Never heard of the channel, so shout them out. They have about 500 subscribers, but he interviewed him in the stack, and was a good seeing my good old mate. Man, what I would have... I think we need to call him on, like, I don't know if we do this in soccer. Oh, gosh, I almost said the S word. But Shelby... so in American football, in hockey, we have something that's called a PTO contract, where you can sign them like for a 1 day or something like this. So we need to get Shelby for a 1 day contract at Anfield, just so he can get a straight red, in my opinion. Not just kidding.
I love that. Just send him in at Isak when it comes to that time. Just John Joe.
Yes, the 75th minute, just send him in.
Just launch his ball at them. Do you know what I mean? That'd be brilliant.
Yeah.
That would be excellent.
Like Undertaker, from the WWE, from the top rope. Oh. Anyways, we're really, truly off the rails now. Thank you so much, guys, for joining again. It's been great. Any final thoughts from you, my friend? Otherwise, I'll let you get back to some family time.
No, that is all from me. Happy with 3 points, as I think everyone should be. 1-0, Woltemade scoring on his debut. There's nothing more to be disappointed about. Everyone go out there, get yourselves a nice pint of Guinness down here. It's going to be a Guinness 0 for me because I'm off the drink at the moment. Just celebrate, because tonight
I'm having a nice San Pellegrino in honor of Sandro.
Love that. But no, thank you very much, Josh. Once again, you've run an amazing stream. You do this job, Bella. It's like I love it. I would be messing up all of the shots. So
you're a great co-host to have. So glad when you can always help me out. But have a great afternoon. Enjoy. Do you got North Shields tomorrow?
No, Newcastle women tomorrow. North Shields played away today and they won 4-1. Love that. So it's wins. I'm getting 3 points all over today and I'm happy as Larry.
Yeah.
Happy as Larry.
In the words of DJ Khaled, all I do is win.
All I do is win.
Anyways, well, take it easy, guys. And we will leave you with that and have a great rest of your day. Away the lads and lasses.
Away the lads.